In this video, we are going to expand double brackets, correctly called the binomial product. So what this entails is, for example, brackets in the form a plus b and all multiplied by c plus d. Now essentially, all of this bracket needs to be multiplied by this bracket, and there's two terms in each bracket. You do need to take care of the sign. In this case, we've got both plus signs. Now, the expansion you can use FOIL for, which stands for first, outer, inner, last. Okay, essentially makes a nice smiley face with eyebrows, so I'll just draw that. You've got a multiplied by c and a multiplied by d and b multiplied by d and b multiplied by c. So you've got two eyebrows and a double chin. Alright, so just concentrating on the word FOIL. So when I took a and multiplied it by c, I was actually taking the first terms in each bracket and multiplying them together. So doing so gives me ac. Then we look at the outer. So a is then multiplied by the outside d. So they're the two outside terms, which gives me ad. Then the inner, the two inner terms, the two inside terms are b and c, so you multiply those together to give you bc. And finally, you take the last two terms of both brackets, which is b and d. So b multiplied by d gives you bd. And so essentially what we've created here is four terms. Now, you can also look at this geometrically. You can see I've got a multiplication grid here, where down the side is the first bracket, a plus b. I'm putting the plus b there because that b shows it's positive, and then we had c plus d, because you do need to take into account the sign. Sometimes we have negatives. And then you just treat it as a multiplication grid. So this first grid here is a times c, so ac. This is ad, this is bc, and this is bd. And usually with this kind of multiplication grid, you add them together at the totals. So you get AC plus AD plus BC plus BD, which, as you can see, is exactly the same as when you're using FOIL. Okay, let's go through some examples. We're going to now expand a couple of examples. I've got three examples here. This one, a plus 3 multiplied by a plus 2. It says expand. That means we're going to multiply out the brackets and then simplify. That means we need to bring any like terms together. So let's start with the first one. So I'm going to do the first terms in each, which is x times x. X times x gives me x squared. Then I'm going to do the outer terms, x times 2, so that's 2x. It's positive because they're all positive numbers. Then I'm going to do the inner terms, 3 times x, which is 3x. And then I'm going to do the last terms, which is 3 times 2, which is 6. I've got some like terms here. The 2x and the 3x are like terms, so I can add them together, giving me x squared plus 5x plus 6. Okay, moving on to the second one, I'm going to do it in exactly the same way. Notice how this sign here is negative. That belongs to the 2. So when I'm taking the first terms, that's not affected by it. I've got 2x times 3x gives me 6x squared. When I take the outer terms, I'm going to do 2x multiplied by minus 2, giving me minus 4x. Then when I do the inner, I've got positive 1 times 3x, that's just 3x. And then finally, the last term is 1 multiplied by minus 2, which is negative 2. Again, you should find you have 4 terms, and you can simplify the two middle terms, giving you 6x squared minus 1x. Just write minus x, minus 2. Let's move on to the last example, where we've got 3x plus 1 all squared. Okay, what you need to understand is when something's squared, it means that it's times by itself. So essentially, we can write this as 3x plus 1, all multiplied by itself, 3x plus 1, which gives us a double bracket. So I'm going to go first term, outer, inner, last, giving me 9x squared plus 3x plus 1, which gives me, simplifying, 9x squared plus 6x plus 1.